Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, Ballsville? Welcome to the Gauntlet recap. We're going to be recapping week 6 of some of the NFL games, going over our Gauntlet leagues, some of the injuries, and what it means for your waivers. Before we begin, let's go ahead and just go around the board here and introduce our guests. With us today is Ethan up there representing Texans and Bills. How you doing, Ethan?
Doing good. Thank you for having me on.
And one happy Giants fan over there. There's Mr. Christopher. How you doing, man?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me again, Alex.
We haven't talked to you since the big game on Thursday. How'd that feel watching that Thursday night game and some of that dominance there?
I just kept thinking it was gonna, Philly's always gonna come back and beat the Giants, and it just didn't happen. I think.
Yep.
I think Hurts is showing that he's not as good as people thought he was.
Yeah, well, it was fun to watch, especially for me. We talked about how many Cam Scattaboo shares that I have. He's in a third of my leagues, so it's good to see that man deliver. And Jackson Dart looks good, man. So good luck going forward. I dig the background. It's nice to see our crew here getting some W's. Speaking of Mr. Scattaboo, he came in. Finished the week at number 5. Number 4 was Devon Achane. Josh Jacobs at number 3. Rico Dowdle at number 2. Bijan Robinson at number 1. Hell of a game that was. We'll talk about that in a second. For your quarterbacks, number 1 on the week was Patrick Mahomes. Number 2 is Drake May. Number 3 was Dak Prescott. If you recall, I traded Dak away for Justin Herbert. And they kind of switched roles, and Herbert took a dive, and Dak started overperforming. So always good to see that play out. Number 4 was Jaden Daniels, Daniel Jones, number 5, Jackson Dart, number 6, and at number 7, honorable mention, Jacoby Brissett, who just happens to find a way onto the field no matter who he's backing up. For your wide receivers, number 1, we had George Pickens. Number 2, Drake London, another guy from the Monday night games. JSN at number 3. Number 5 was Jamar Chase, and number 4 appearing in the top 5 was Mr. Keyshawn Butte. So a couple of interesting names there. Brissett at number 7 just kills me. What do you guys think of Brissett at 7? Ethan, what do you think?
I couldn't see it coming. There was a couple of people in Discord talking about how they would start just a regular positional player over Brissett. And I wouldn't go that far, but nobody's seen Brissett dropping 25 coming. Nobody's seen that coming.
Chris, what do you think this does for the image of Kyler Murray if Brissett goes out there and puts up points like this?
I don't think it means anything. I think that's the only time you're going to see Brissett in the top 7, even if we started all year long.
Yeah, he's a total Mariota to me, man. They get one good game per year, and they got to make it a good one. And so I think we just saw it. So back to the Monday night game. Last night we had a couple of interesting games. One of the bigger upsets, I don't know how you compare the Giants taking out the Eagles to the Falcons kind of putting smackdown on the Bills. Ethan, we'll go to you. How do you feel about that game last night?
Well, we've seen Buffalo's defense not be the best all year. I'm hoping that gets better towards the playoffs. I do like the Bills. I like Josh Allen. I like that offense. Their defense has not really been good at all. Bijan, they've been getting run on all year, and that showed last night with Bijan. Drake London went crazy in the first half, and really, to me, that set the tone for the whole game. Drake London had 10 catches for 130, 40 yards and a touchdown. Really, it should have been 2 touchdowns. Yeah, they called it a touchdown at first. They got called back to the 1. I wasn't watching at the time, so I don't know if it really was or not. But really, he had 30. Really, he almost had 36 points 36 fantasy points in the first half, which is nuclear. Bills, Josh Allen, he looked locked in at first, and then throughout the game, they just people started getting injured. Josh Palmer got injured. James Cook was only effective on the ground. I wish they could have got him more involved in the passing game and just throughout the game. But throughout the game, it just looked like Bills just were just out of it, like they didn't. So, honest, so for speaking for two of the most top AFC teams, the Bills and the Ravens, hopefully they take this bye week ahead of them and get back to their roots starting week 8 and finding their groove. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, totally. And we'll touch on it a little later, but they got away from the run enough to kind of make themselves one dimensional for the remainder of that game. And that Atlanta defense, man, I think they're the real deal. They've been showing us all season. It's time we take them serious. That wasn't the only game last night, though. We also had the Chicago Bears taking on the Washington Commanders. A lot to talk about there. A lot to not talk about. No McLaurin, kind of disappointing there. Chris, what do you have to tell us about that game?
Well, for one, I was surprised the Bears started the game scoring the first 13. So they go up 13 early, and I'm like, wow. And then Jaden Daniels was like, hold my beer. He scores 24 out of the next 27 points. And you're thinking, oh, man, it's over now. And then DeAndre Swift hits a 55-yard reception, and they're back in business. It took all 11 minutes and 42 seconds they had left for them to get back ahead, and they won it on the last play, a field goal. But Jaden Daniels, I mean, he's definitely in my top 5 quarterbacks just for what he can do in such a small amount of time. Like, it was like 4 drives and 3 of them were touchdowns. So 3 touchdown passes. Swift had 175 yards scrimmage, 1 touchdown. He had a really good night. I wouldn't count out Caleb for doing stuff. I mean, he had a rushing touchdown. He just needs to get he needs to throw the ball down the field more, be more accurate. But other than that, both of these teams are pretty good. It was an even matchup. I think if we're talking about Jaden Daniels having a couple more weeks back from injury, I don't think the Bears win that game. I think he was just getting back, and it almost was enough, but almost didn't cut it here. So
totally. And again, missing a piece or two there. It was a really good game. There was a lot of action last night, in part because it was a doubleheader. And if you're like me and the kiddo here, we were watching it on 2 screens. So it was a lot of back and forth action. Excellent stuff last night. And something that probably was missed by a lot of you guys, if you weren't paying attention, was the DJ Moore situation after the game. So I didn't see anything, and I really didn't know anything until Chris kind of brought it to light. And here we go, another post-game injury that's popping up. Chris, what do you know about that?
Apparently, during the game, he had a groin injury, and out of precaution, they sent him to the hospital, and they kept him overnight. And they're just calling it day by day right now, so they must have not seen anything serious, but keep tabs later in the week to find out what's going on for his availability. I'd put him probably at 50-50.
We are in the thick of the season now. For our mini leagues, we end those regular seasons after week 14, so we're literally halfway through for those. For the gauntlet that we're here to talk about, we're 2 weeks out from the end of redraft, which brings a checkpoint with a couple of bonuses, payouts, and then we start getting into the exciting part of it, the guillotine portion. And unfortunately, at the same time, it's the thick of the NFL season, and we have people coming back from injury and people going to injury. So we've prepared kind of a little visual here. We're going to let Chris take you through the injuries. We're going to cover injuries. We're going to cover what it means for your waiver wire. These are for players that you actually find on the waiver wire in our leagues for the gauntlet game. Redraft's a different story because those are deeper leagues, deeper benches, and it's rare to find people there. So some of these players might not even be on the redraft waiver wire. But as far as the gauntlet, we'll come across those. So Chris, you put together the injury list.
Yeah, this week was a week of hurting your wide receiver ones. Harrison Jr.'s got a concussion, but he should be 50-50 to play this week if he gets back from protocol in time. Nakua, he's got an ankle injury, but they're already saying that they want him to play. So even though he's going overseas, I wouldn't rush it. But hey, the Rams being the Rams, they need him out there because their offense is tailored around Nakua. So I heard Garrett Wilson is going to be out at least a couple weeks, and makes sense that he won't be back until week 10 because their bye is week 9. Egbuka, there's not a lot of information out for him other than he might miss a week or two. Calvin Ridley, he's got a hamstring, and we just talked about more. So prepare for replacements for these guys.
Yeah, and it's a rough week for it. We're right in the heart of bye weeks, and yeah, these injuries are piling up. We're seeing a big shift. So one of the things that I've seen this week, looking at matchups, was the owners who had Ibuka and Puka Nakua were doing very well. So top of the leaderboard type of teams are taking hits with those. That was the wide receiver 1 and 3, I believe. And I think Monroe was the 2 going into the week. So you're talking about the 2 of the top 3 wide receivers going out for who knows how long. So what does it mean for us? Waiver wire pickups. Number 1, Luther Burden. So if you're looking at your waiver wire, Burden, because of his projection and because the DJ Moore thing is kind of so fresh, he is buried on your waiver wire. So if players like Calvin Austin are above him. So really take a look and see if that guy's there, because I looked him up and he is in a lot of these leagues. I'll be placing a bid on him. We're not going to give away how much, but there will be a bid there. Coming out of Tampa with the injuries there, we have Tez Johnson and we have Cameron Johnson. Ethan, we'll go to you. These Tampa boys, what do you know about them, and who do you prefer?
Okay. Before I start, I'm just gonna say I believe Mike Evans is supposed to be coming back to practice this week. I don't know if he's gonna be ready for the game, but he's coming back to practice this week. So, hopefully that can do Baker some justice, because I know Godwin's unhealthy too. So, hopefully Mike plays. But out of these 2, if the big 3 aren't playing, Mike, Emeka, and Chris Godwin, I'd like Tez Johnson more. I've never even heard of this Cameron Johnson. And then I seen him. He got a long touchdown last week. But Tez has been getting more volume, I would say, from a volume standpoint. That'd be who I'd want. I would definitely expect an uptick in targets from even Rashad White in the backfield and K. Dotton. If you have them, I'd plug them in. But Tez Johnson right here would be my one.
Do you feel the same way, Chris?
Yeah, because Cameron Johnson is only 0 years old. If you look
I saw that too. Apparently, Player Profiler doesn't know who he is that much either. Shout out to Player Profiler, by the way. If you guys don't check that site out, they have combine and collegiate history. It's really good information there and really cool visuals to put together a profile like this for the players. I actually have their stats in front of me because as a 49er fan, I was like, who the hell are these guys? I've heard of Tez Johnson before, not familiar with his game, but he put up, he had 1 reception out of 3 opportunities for 45 yards and a touchdown, whereas Cameron Johnson caught 4 out of 4 of his targets for 64 yards and a touchdown. So we'll see about Mike Evans. Obviously he comes back and he's going right in my lineups.
Which one of these Johnsons was the one that thought that the MVP chant was for him after the touchdown?
I believe that was Tez.
Tez, he got that touchdown.
That was funny. And what did he say?
MVP
he said,
why?
Yeah, this for me, I ain't done nothing. It was for Baker MVP chant. So that was a real cool moment. Going on to the next one, talking about the Puka injury, we have Jordan Whittington here, who did flash slightly. I wouldn't really call it a flash. He just kind lived up to what we would hope somebody would do for a couple games last year. And Tutu Atwell, who has always had some of the prettiest big plays. You know, he's 5'9", and he really knows how to get himself open. So if Nakua is missing time and you're staking a waiver claim, who are you claiming here, Chris?
Whittington, because that's all I keep hearing is Whittington's going to be the one that is the most targeted. I would hope that I wouldn't need to throw one of these guys in, but if I had to, it would be Whittington.
So I think Whittington is interesting in Dynasty because there is an opening there for a role, and I think he does have a decent skill set to be relevant. Nothing special that I've seen, but with Devontae Adams, you know, being the older receiver there, I think now is a good time for him to step up to the plate and show us something, and then maybe, you know, secure himself some opportunities down the road. Ethan, you agree? Whittington over Tutu?
If I had to pick, I'd probably slightly lean Tutu. I just feel like I've seen more Tutu like in the past, which I know that doesn't really equivalent to now, but I mean, honestly, it's about even to me. If I really needed one, I would just put in a claim for both of them and just whichever one I get, because I feel like they'll both get around the same. I mean, the same projections, the same opportunity, maybe.
I like how they have the same ADP too.
What the heck?
Nice. All right, next, after Marvin Harrison's concussion, you know, and you know, not to discount concussions or anything, but at least it wasn't, you know, a lower body injury or some kind of shoulder injury that, you know, would limit his performance when he comes back. So hopefully he misses a game or two. But if you have to flex somebody in your lineup out of these two, Greg Dortch and Zay Jones, Ethan, who you picking?
Give me Greg Dortch. I feel like Zay Jones became irrelevant a long time ago. Greg Dortch, I mean, I feel like he's put up, I mean, maybe not big performances, but he's put up some good performances in the past. Give me Greg Dortch.
You agree, Chris?
Yeah, I'm with him on that one.
Okay, so we have a couple more players or one more player to highlight, and we'll cut to him here, Kayshon Boutte. So before we discuss Boutte, so I think in my perspective, Kayshon Boutte is kind of like the belle of the ball here until we know more about the DJ Moore injury, and then maybe it's Luther Burden if that's going to be something long term. But as far as these wide receiver duos, how would you list your interest in these particular all six of these players? How would you order your interest in them? Anybody you're targeting, Chris?
Boutte is number one to me.
Same here. Yep. You don't ignore a game like that over them people.
Yeah, we're at wide receiver 4 on the week. So yeah, that's a good call. I'd probably have to go with Boutte too. And then if I have to take a shot on anybody, if it's a dynasty league, I really want to take the opportunity. Burden's not going to be there, but Jordan Whittington might. So he might be a stash candidate for me in dynasty. But as far as these gauntlet leagues go, I think Boutte is probably the only guy that's really going to give you any kind of return on your fab if you spend any. So I'm not going to ask you guys what you'll spend on that because we're all in leagues together, and then you'll just be giving it away. So, and then aside from the players that have gone on injury, there are players coming back. We mentioned Mike Evans earlier, who's probably going to be coming back to the fold. We also have George Kittle, who's cleared to come off of IR. We have Jalen Coker, who I think is practicing right now, right? You guys heard anything about that?
Only that I've heard he's supposed to.
Okay, Christian Watson, whose window was open last week. He's somebody that I was taking with my 26th pick in all the big leagues, just in hopes of him giving me something down the stretch. And coming off suspension and ready to rock, here comes the savior, Rashee Rice. That should be a big thing for my leagues because I have a lot of them. So
I just want to say something about that. Patrick Mahomes has been putting up crazy performances, and he hasn't had his best receiver, Rasheed Rice. I mean, it's gonna be some scary times in Kansas City. Unfortunately, I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
My,
no, I
my,
agree.
my funny Rice story is that in a Pirate League this week, I stole him. Guy didn't get to use him at all this year, and I just took him right
Took him
before
right
I dumped
before.
And playing him right off the bat, I mean, that's pretty
Yeah.
risky.
He's going to be my wide
Nice.
receiver
I
3.
would.
So, out of all those ancillary pieces, out of the Kelsey's, the Jujus, the Hollywood Browns, who do you think suffers the most from the return of Rasheed Rice? Ethan, we'll go to you.
Yeah. So I think guys like Juju and even like Noah Gray. I think Juju kind of becomes out of the picture. I think Hollywood Brown will just be. I think everybody just moves down a slot. I think Hollywood Brown moves to that wide receiver 3 role. He gets some playing time, but he doesn't really, have games like he's been having. Worthy comes back more of a wide receiver 2 like he was last year, even though he still put up big games. But he's a wide receiver 2 now since Rice is back, and we've seen them on the field together. We know what it's like. And then Rice, I think Rice, as long as he's been engaging in practice, engaging with the organization, engaging with Mahomes, I feel like he's gonna get right back on track to what he was doing before and putting up big performances.
I'm definitely hoping. I have a lot of Rasheed Rice, especially in Dynasty. I eked out a few wins this week in these Dynasty leagues, but my teams have definitely been suffering without him. So, Chris, you have any shares of him?
I do now.
Yeah, that one.
I would say that this is going to make Mahomes very dangerous if he wasn't already. And I think this only helps everybody else too. It might take away from everybody, but it's still going to leave big chunks for, I think, Kelsey and the rare game now for Worthy or Hollywood Brown.
So before we move off of this and into the next part, Chris, I gave you some of the worst advice I could ever give somebody. You popped into the Discord and you asked the question, do I play a Hollywood Brown or do I play a Son Haskins? And I told you with such fucking confidence, play Haskins. And Hollywood scores 2 touchdowns, and Vidal ends up being the guy in Chargers. Please tell me you don't listen to me.
I don't think I played Haskins anywhere, or if I did, I didn't really care because it was Gauntlet, and I'm just like waiting until week 9 happens for that.
Yeah, good. Yeah, because week 9 is when we start having our players cut for that guillotine portion. So that's what he's referring to. Speaking of the Gauntlet, moving into that, we have 2 undefeated teams that remain. I think we have like 6 or 7 last week. So some of them fell. And the 2 that remain, coincidentally, are going to be our own, sorry for cussing, Mr. Christopher here from Apollo Light, and also Mr. Ethan here, Amon-Ra out of Amon-Ra Dark. Chris, we'll go to you first. Tell us a little bit about your draft strategy and what you've done to be so successful in this league right here.
There's not much to tell. Looking at my roster, there's not anything that really stands out besides JSN, and I took 3 consecutive quarterbacks in the middle rounds, so they are still they're producing for me, and I didn't pay top premium price for a quarterback because they went like 5, 6, 7 in the 5, 6, 7 round. So I got some good starters in the positional players and adequate guys as my quarterbacks. Not much to say other than I picked Dowdle in the 15th round, and I looked and he's not even on my team now. So I must have dropped him somewhere along the way, and it would have been nice to have him probably.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. I believe I'm in that league, and I might be the guy that has him. So maybe. But Ethan over here in Amon-Ra Dark, you're pulling it off. We did want to highlight your points for is higher by 29 than Chris, but your points against is it's more than 130 less than Chris. So you're having a little bit of fortune, but you are performing. What can you tell us about your roster there?
Yeah. So like I said last week, for some reason, I don't think people really care to show up when they play me. I don't know if they just want to take the L as it is, or what's going on with that. But starting out, I believe I traded my Fab to Chris and probably acquired an extra player or two. That's good for me. But I think in that league I already had JSN. I drafted him. I drafted pretty good. I also made some trades along the lines. Like I had Rasheed Rice. I found out, I thought it was going to be just a little suspension. I traded him for, I believe it was David Montgomery, who has a week 8 bye, and he's had some pretty good games. And in that league, I think I only drafted one running back, and now I have like 3 or 4. I even traded when Terry McLaurin signed that deal. I had a trade pending. I didn't know I still had it, but I'm glad he accepted it. I traded McLaurin for Brees Hall, so I got him. Got some other running backs. I got Ladd McConkey in that league. It's finally good to see him go off. I got quarterback, I believe 2 right now, Patrick Mahomes. I got Jake Ferguson in a trade with Ladd and Scary Terry, and all I traded was Jettas and a couple other. Just some trades that ended up working in my favor. Like I said, I had to trade my Fab, which I've done in some leagues. I acquired Fab in some leagues, so it's just working out for me.
You'll notice that Ethan is like the most active trader in all of Gauntlet for sure.
Absolutely, I agree with that. You can see here he's got $0 of Fab. The Fab is important, but if you're dominating and you have that roster already, who's to say that's not the strategy that pays off? One thing that we maintain here, we call it Ballsville for a reason. You're going to have these ballsy trades to put yourself in a position where you're going to dominate. If you just play with the team and you drafted, and everybody's doing that, it's just going to be, pretty mediocre. But you take ballsy moves like that and they pay off. That's how you end up in this position where you're 12-0. So congratulations to you two. You're the only 2 rosters that are out there that are 12-0. And then when we get into some of the high scores, you're going to see Ethan's name pop up a lot because he's kind of dominating these Gauntlet leagues as it is. But before we get to that, we want to highlight our matchup of the week. Chris pulled this up. You can see here Chicken Boy, Mr. Noah versus our own JoJo, Mr. Joey, Jupiter Light. Something to watch. It's a number 1 seed versus the number 2. It has big implications on the season, obviously, but also the payouts and the bonuses that are coming at the end of week 8 when we're done with the redraft portion. We're going to get into that in a minute here, but so how do you guys feel about the redraft portion and comparing it to what we're doing in the brass balls? Because both of you are in there, and in that format, we're doing a pirate with the plundering, and you can take players or Fab. How do you feel, Chris? We'll go to you first. Comparing our 2025 version now to what the 2026 version is going to be bringing up.
The 2026 version, you got to pick your spots, I think, more so that you can protect yourself against losing a good player. So it's like it's hard to describe, because right now in this way you're not losing anybody in 2025, but in 2026 you've got 4 flex spots that you can lose players from, and in a tight matchup you're playing all your guys because you want to win, but you have to remember that you could just as easily lose any one of those 4 guys on any given week. So it would pay dividends for you if you knew you had a good chance to lose, just to throw bench guys in your starting lineup for your flex spots, preserve what you have, and live to fight another day. That's how I look at it.
So that's such a good point, because going into the Monday night games last night, I had Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt as my only player left to play, and I had a 40-point lead over Cheeky. Now, what ended up happening is Sunday night, I think it was Sunday night, he had somebody blow up, and all of a sudden the odds became a lot closer. But if he had not performed there, and I knew I was going to win, the plan was to take JCM out and play a scrub off my bench so that I could then swap that player out. So now I'm in a predicament where he has Chris Olave, Wandale Robinson, and Jameson Williams, and my most sensible player to give up is JCM, and I have to pick one of them, and I have to live with giving up JCM or take 25% of his fab. So it adds a whole different strategy, an element, like Chris said. If you think you're going to win or if you think you're going to lose, maybe you take out your Monday night player, and it gives you more flexibility, or even helps you protect the player. Ethan, you have anything to say about the difference between that brass balls league and the gauntlet leagues?
Yeah, I noticed. I mean, there's a lot of differences. I mean, I like how, if somebody were to take their players out of their lineup or like sub their or they're not as good players in, you're not going to want to steal those players. So you can also steal 25% of their current fab. So if you look at my fab, I have like almost double than what you start out with, because I keep taking 25% of fab because some of the flex options aren't enticing to me that I could steal. So I'd rather have 25% fab, which I can use for the guillotine portion of it.
Yep.
But I do like this brass balls league. So this is the way that it's going to happen in 2026, like just like this.
Yeah, so there's going to be a little bit of variables, like right now, because we have 14 players in this league, because it's a combination of our game managers and some of you that were in all the gauntlet leagues. There's 14 of us, so there's little variance with the players that we're dropping. But in next year, we will be dropping from 12 players to 6 players by the playoff portion, by the bracket portion. Here we're dropping from 14 to 6 players in that same window. So 2 of the weeks we're going to be dropping, 2 teams for each of those weeks. That's a little different.
Are we going to 5 flex next year?
Yes, and that's the other difference, is that because we're going to have 12 teams instead of 14 teams, we're going to add that 5th flex. Now you can protect one of them. So we'll take Ethan. By the way, before we move off of it, you're also winning in this league as well. 5-1 is your record. And right here, 367 fab, and that's from pilfering fab instead of players. So it's nice to have that 5-1 and still be able to, re-roll with the same players every week. That's pretty impressive. But if we go to your matchup, you see Ethan here. He beat Connor for the week. They have positional players, quarterback, running back, receiver, and tight end. And then for these 4 wide receiver or flex positions, let me see. Amon St. Brown right here is protected with the skull and crossbones, and so is ETN. And it looks like Connor's missing somebody. Maybe he did exactly what we were talking about and removed them, knowing he was going to lose for the week. But that's allowed. That's part of the strategy. So
I think he did that after. I think he did that after he had Bo Nix and Breece Hall in his lineup. He said, "I'm a forfeit." Yeah,
that's a good point.
Breece right there earlier. Or no, maybe it was just Garrett Wilson. Maybe he didn't have Breece. But
yeah, it could be. Maybe he just we'll have to ask Connor what that was about. But Connor is really active, so it was probably something intentional. But here we are. My matchup I won. Now I have to go decide who I'm going to trade out JCM for. There's just a whole strategic element with this. But that'll be it for the brass balls talk. We're going to talk about our point leaders real quick before we get out of the segment. Going over here to the sticky scoreboards. Keep an eye on these. These are our gauntlet leaders, and there's a certain name here that just keeps appearing. Ethan, you're going to have to tell us how you're doing it. We have you at number 1, 2, 3, 5, and 7. We still need a little while longer for the Monday night players to pop up, but that's also going to boost your points anyway with Josh Allen here, Caleb Williams there. You're doing pretty good here, Ethan. Why don't you tell us, it's the same kind of strategy, right? You want to elaborate on what these trades are doing for your teams?
Yeah, a lot of them. A lot of some of these I do have extra fab. Some of them I traded fab for extra players. It seems like whatever I'm doing is working for the most part. a lot of these, I do have the best receiver in the National Football League. I have JSN, and I have really good running backs, really good quarterbacks. Snagged a lot of Mahomes, snagged a lot of Allen when I could. I mean, when I had number one. Got good running backs, receivers. You're really just trying to blow out the competition this year. And last week I wasn't this high on the leaderboards. I had really good weeks this week. So after Monday's updates, I want to see how far they all go up.
So this is really good information. I'll be checking in here tomorrow morning to see if it updates and see if I'm on the leaderboards, maybe the first couple pages. But that's as far as I go. But we're about halfway through the season, so all this can change. Good luck to everybody going forward. Good luck to you, Ethan. As far as the gauntlet itself, we are almost to the end of redraft. It's pretty linear. It feels like a regular league if you're in there now, set your lineup, waivers, and all that stuff. But we are 2 weeks away from a couple of our first payouts. So if you go to the website, you go to the Gauntlet game, you're going to go down and you're going to find the Gauntlet cash stock. You'll scroll down here. Payout number one. After week 8, $30 goes to the league leader in standings, and that is for all 24 leagues. And your payout, $30 for 24 leagues. It's going to cost $720 out of our championship pool. And there is also an early dominator bonus that is $50 to the number one scorer over the first 8 weeks. And like we just saw, it's for each legion. So for the Greeks, the Egyptians, and the Romans, they're all the same guy. They're all our very own Ethan. But at the end of week 8, we're going to have like in that situation that we're in now, Ethan, you would be winning 150 just claiming all 3 of those $50 bonuses, plus every league that you're winning in, all 5 of those, that's $30 per. So we're talking about $300 in payouts, like right off the bat, week 8, for this game, not to mention the other ones you're performing in. And then we get into the guillotine portion. So that's the way that game works. Chris, you have anything you want to add to that? You excited for this guillotine?
I'm just sad. I'm just sad.
So I get that you're underperforming in the gauntlet, but we mentioned this earlier before we went on air. Weeks 1 through 8, there is no real penalty for underperforming other than the seeding, but you're not going to get eliminated this year. Next year, you will get eliminated if you're the bottom 2 teams after the redraft portion, so it'll be a little bit more cutthroat. But as long as you get past that week 9 and start rolling and spending some of that fab to upgrade your team, who's to say that strategy doesn't pay out? So
I'll say this though, the strategy for 2026. Now, in order you take a win and then you take their fab as part of the trade, you're also giving them a loss, and they're not going to be able to replace their troops at the same time. So that'll put them in a bad advantage or a disadvantage when it comes to getting cut.
No, you're absolutely right. And one of the things maybe we'll do next week is take a look at the bottom teams and see what kind of assets they have. Looking now, our 0-6 team is actually out of fab. So if he doesn't have the players to eke a win out here and there, he's not going to be able to acquire any fab. He's not going to be able to upgrade his roster. It'll be kind of at the mercy of whatever falls down to him. So. That's a good point. So anyways, that's the guillotine that we're looking forward to. That's going to be an exciting time. And the good part about it is that we'll be here to cover it as we go through it. So, if you're doing well, we're going to call your name out, give you the prompts as managers and help you navigate the game itself and highlight you here on the podcast. So that said, we're going to get into one of our last segments, the good, the bad, the ugly. Just kind of back to what we saw over the weekend. I'm going to kick it over to Ethan. Why don't you just go ahead and give us your good, your bad, and your ugly, and just elaborate on what it is you're seeing.
Yeah, I'm going to start out with my good player. My good player is going to be Dallas Cowboys wide receiver George Pickens. George had 9 receptions, 168 yards, 1 touchdown. He had a similar performance, not the week before, but the week before that against the Packers. He had a great game. Him and Dak are clicking. Dak's been playing good ball, and Lamb's not even there. When Lamb comes back, I don't know if Pickens is going to keep this up, but for now, he's notable. He's very notable for this good because he's wide receiver 4 right now. He's been going. He had a crazy week. You know, it was unsure if he was gonna. I mean, I've never seen George Pickens act like this, so that's gonna be my good. My bad might surprise some people. I'm gonna go with Detroit Lions running back Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs put up 7.5 fantasy points or 8.5, 7. Either one. That's not like Jahmyr Gibbs. We don't see Jahmyr Gibbs act like this. I mean, he hasn't really blew up in any games yet. I mean, that's not really what he does. I mean, he's still young. He's still in his prime. He should be going off. It was a prime time game against the Chiefs. 8.5 for me isn't going to cut it. I think he got a reception out of that too. Just not good work from Gibbs for me. The ugly, I'm going to take the whole Denver Broncos team. I don't know if they were playing down to their competition against the New York Jets. Yeah. I don't know if that's what they were doing, but after they scored that touchdown in the first quarter, I believe it was, they couldn't barely get any first downs. No good fantasy performers that day from them. Sutton had 1 catch for like 14 yards. Dobbins didn't do anything. Nix didn't do too much. Their other role players didn't do hardly anything. I mean, their defense did good, but we're talking about fantasy. Offensive players, they just didn't play good against a winless team, which I think they should have, put up better numbers, put up more than 13 points offensively. Those are my good, bad, ugly.
Absolutely, and oh man! So at the end of the season, we do like a little awards thing for the year and stuff, and that game made me want to introduce a worst game of the year award because that sucked to watch, man. I mean, I was watching it while I was at work, and I was paying attention to work. That's how bad that game was, man. So hopefully we get them out of those prioritized slots and kind of just, we have better games to watch. Chris, you have your good, your bad, your ugly. You want to hit us with it?
Yeah. My good is Cameron Scatabo. He solidified himself as the running back 1 for the Giants. I don't think Tracy's going to cut into that at all. Scatabo is not slowing down. He's running through folks. He's getting involved even in the passing game. I mean, he only had 2 receptions this week, but he's still a big part of that offense and getting Dart going. He had 98 yards rushing. He had 3 touchdowns. I mean, he's getting the scepter on NFL Network every week. He's definitely my good for the week. My bad for the week is Justin Fields. He had 45 yards passing the whole game. He took 9 sacks for a loss of 55 yards, net passing yards of -10 for the whole game. He had 4.9 fantasy points. It was just atrocious. It was bad, really bad. My ugly is the Baltimore Ravens. Cooper Rush finished the game with negative fantasy points, was replaced, and even his replacement didn't do all that much. They scored 3 points. It was rough. Derrick Henry was the only decent production. Thank God he showed something. He had over 100 yards rushing. But, I mean, other than that, Zay Flowers, he lost a fumble. Just an ugly performance. You got to do better than that, Baltimore. I mean,
yeah.
Lamar Jackson shouldn't be the only hope there. I mean, they did win what, 11, 12, 13 games last year. It's not just Lamar. Other people need to step up.
I think that's the big takeaway, though, is how good is Lamar Jackson that he can kind of take this crap show and make it the dominant force that it is. I mean, even Derrick Henry's not capable of shouldering a load like this. Like, I mean, they need him back badly, and they need him back quickly. So, but touching on Scatterbo, I'm gonna go ahead and we didn't plan this, but I'm gonna bring up our ADP here. This is ADP from our Gauntlet leagues. These are the last 10 leagues to draft. So going down this board, let's say for the sake of argument, let's pretend this is a dynasty board, and we're going to highlight the running backs. And I want you guys to both tell me if you'd rather have this player or Cam Scatterbo in a dynasty format. We'll start right here at the round 2 pick, Derrick Henry. Just shout it out. Would you guys rather have Derrick Henry or Scatterbo?
Scat.
Okay, moving over to the right, Christian McCaffrey or Scatterbo?
Scat. CMC. I mean, he's getting older.
I know, but he's still got a couple.
Yeah, he does. But give me Scats. Give me the youngin.
Omarion Hampton.
Oh, Hampton.
You agree, Chris?
Hampton.
Okay, over here on the right side, or the left side, Chase Brown.
Scatterbo.
Scatterbo. I think this is where it gets tricky right here. Travion Henderson, Scatterbo.
Scatterbo.
I'm taking Scat still.
Brees Hall.
Scatterbo.
Give me Brees.
On the Jets next year.
Give me Brees. I want Brees.
Yeah, man. So check this out. What if I think the dream scenario is Brees Hall signs with the Chiefs next year or something like that. Give him some kind of powerhouse where he can go and be featured behind a good old line. But I think that's kind of where the line is Brees Hall versus Scatterbo. Yeah, I know Scatterbo's projected to have a shorter lifespan in the NFL because of his style of play, but that doesn't really scare me much. I think if Brees Hall ends up in a committee, it's obviously Scatterbo for me too. So going down my list, the good, I'm going to go with Rachaad White. And again, as a 49er fan, I watched Rachaad White come and kick some ass in the NFC West. He put up 20 points per game between the Seahawks and the 49ers. Granted, no Fred Warner, no Bosa there, but still formidable defenses. And to just kind of show up and average that. And then with Bucky out, before their bye week, their next 2 games are going to be Detroit and New Orleans, which aren't really scary defenses. So I feel like Rachaad White is one of the players that I just kind of had stashed in a lot of leagues, and it's starting to pay dividends now. So it's pretty good to have that. So I just watching him play, he looks like a whole new player. So Rachaad White is my good. My bad is going to be the outlook for Chuba Hubbard. Just based off of what Dowdle's been doing. I'm going to pop up the schedule here that they have in front of them. Miami and Dallas, who are that's who they just played. Sorry. But the Jets and Buffalo, you can run on them, and he's going to be, coming back to form with those games, and he's going to be 50% or less, I believe, based off of what Dowdle's been doing. And then they really don't have a too great of a playoff schedule. So I think just if you're the Chuba owner, you went from having, a solid RB2 to just doubting if you could play him in the flex, in my opinion. You guys have any opinion on how you feel about Chuba Hubbard there, Chris?
I'm just worried that even though Dowdle has outperformed Chuba in 2 games where he did it in 4 and didn't get it as many yards, I still don't think Carolina will cut Hubbard completely out of the game plan. So I think it's going to be close to 50-50, I think, until Hubbard just doesn't show anything.
Yeah, no, Ethan, you agree with that?
Look, I'm concerned for everybody. Just last year, my thoughts on it are kind of, they paid Chuba a lot of money. They gave him a pretty large contract, if y'all remember that. Um, Jonathan Brooks was a rookie when they did that. Jonathan Brooks was supposed to be a good running back. He was supposed to be a starting running back in Carolina, from what I believe. He never really. I mean, I think he's still injured to this day. I really haven't heard nothing about him. I really don't know what he's even doing now. But Rico's had really two of the best running back games we've seen all season, against two low defenses. But I'm not giving discredit to Rico. I mean, those were two awesome games. It's just hard. It's just hard to say because, like I said, they paid Chuba that money. So, and they said that was their starter. So you have a guy that just went crazy for 2 games, and now you got what was your starter, and you paid him this much money. It's just going to be a tricky situation. I think, like Chris said, I mean, it could even be a 50-50 split, or it's just going to be some type of committee or something. They're not going to take either one completely out of the game plan, unless they have to trade one or somebody's just unhappy or something. Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, personally, I think that I think they're gonna find reasoning to give. I think it's gonna be more of like a 65, share for Rico Dowdle until they're confident that Chuba is gonna be back to form. Who knows if his injuries just kind of linger on. But yeah, that's my bad. And then for my ugly, I have to go with everybody on the Bills that's not Josh Allen. You thought you had security with James Cook. And then he's giving you just barely over 10 points over the last 2 games combined. And all the receivers, I forgot the name, but there was some guy who popped up as the 3rd wide receiver. And I asked Chris if you ever heard of him, and we've never heard of him. So they're just kind of passing the ball to whoever. Yeah, that 3rd receiver.
Yeah, Shaver.
Forget his name. Is that what it was? Yeah.
I think that's what you said. I can't remember if that's the name. But Shaver?
Yeah.
Sounds right.
Something like that. So just they're gonna throw to whoever they want there. After week 1, we were thinking Keon Coleman might take a step forward, and he's kind of regressed ever since then. So there's no security anywhere. And James Cook has a terrible schedule. I think it's like Cleveland and New England are his first 2 playoff matchups. So I don't know if you have James Cook and he's treated you good so far. He might be a Sal candidate down the stretch, but that's what we're all here to do is call our shots and play the game. We all just kind of hope to be like Ethan here and dominate one or two of these leagues and get those payouts. So good stuff here for week 6, guys. The recap is usually short and sweet. Tomorrow we're going to get into some of the more in-depth stuff. Sarah's not here, so it will be Chris hosting. Which should be fun, and we have a new surprise intro for that. But before we sign off here, let's go around one more time. Ethan, you want to say anything about the recap for week 6 and where you're looking forward to going into next week?
Good week. You got two really good teams on bye, the Buffalo Bills and Baltimore Ravens. Looking for them to get healthy, get their guys back right, come back week 8, start fire. I mean, football is not the same when them 2 teams aren't doing good. I want them 2 teams to get back after the bye, start hitting it hard. What I'm looking forward to the most, I'm looking forward to the guillotine portion of this gauntlet game, looking to secure some of these bonuses, looking to eliminate some people in the guillotine portion.
Absolutely. Chris, what about you? You feel the same way?
Yeah, my biggest wish is for Ethan to get drunk and make some bad trades.
Oh, good time. So we'll go over it tomorrow on the update. We'd like to keep this strictly Gauntlet recap because it's such a peculiar game. There's so many stages of it. As we get closer to week 8, we'll release a message to all the leagues to let you guys know what to expect coming forward. We will be asking players to drop their own roster during the guillotine portion because we can't convert over to a chopped league because we can't enable best ball for that portion of the third leg for the bracket. So next year we'll be able to do that because we'll be playing redraft for the final portion. But we'll be asking players to drop their leagues, and then if they don't drop their leagues, then we'll come and we'll use commissioner powers to manually drop them. But that will be tedious, and we have to do it in time for waiver claims. So look forward to that message. That'll be coming to your league soon, and we will be back next week with some more of this recap. Good luck for week 7, and make sure you guys tune in tomorrow for the soundboard, the new version of it. So come and hang out with us. We'll see you later.
Peace.